Hello, people. I'm David,
I'm Travis, and we bring you the latest,
biased
honest
opinions on football news
reviews
and previews.
in football today. You're watching
The Goal
Goalpost.
Post. Hello, people, and welcome back to another episode of The Goal Post. If you haven't seen the last episode where we talk about the Messi saga and Chelsea's incredible transfer window, go down to the description and click on the first link available. Go check out that video and then come back here. We're talking about a really cool, I think this is going to be a really cool podcast today. Today's episode is a prediction video.
Jeez, it's this is gonna be fun. Like I've been dreading this all week because I've been changing my predictions like all week because I've seen the match days, I've seen the transfers happening, and I just can't seem to make up my mind, which is really good for the EPL as a whole because it makes it that much more unpredictable.
Yeah, 100%. Same thing with me. I think I've been trying to wrap my head around which team could land up in the top six, given the fact that the transfer window has not even closed yet. We are very close to the termination of this window, and clubs are going to be going haywire with transfers, incoming transfers, and outgoing transfers, trying to balance books, trying to get in and rejuvenate their old squads. Talking about old squads and rejuvenation, Leeds United, man, what a
Bruh.
match week one they've had.
If
That
it
was a
wasn't
crazy game against Liverpool. Uh,
if it wasn't for their defensive
yeah, continue.
drawbacks, it they had the game in their bag because I think what they did to announce themselves to the Premier League was just phenomenal. And against the champs, I mean, they just went head to head. I mean, they didn't sit back and defend. They didn't sit back and think, oh, the Liverpool are the best team in the world currently, and they are when we need to like try to get a draw or not lose. But they had the winning mentality, and I think that can take Leeds really far.
What a way to announce yourself in the Premier League. Marcelo and the boys from Leeds United making a huge statement, and I think every other club in the division is worried about this fixture with Leeds. Um, Another team I want to speak about is Everton. Everton made a huge impression on the first match day with the introduction of their three new signings: Decoure, James Rodriguez, and Allen. All three featuring in the game and making a huge contribution in their own way, defensively and offensively. What do you think of their performance, Travis?
you know, Ancelotti has come to the Premier League and he has taken over a mid-table team because we know Carlo Ancelotti as having managing the top teams in the top leagues. He's managed Bayern, he's managed Madrid, he's managed Inter Milan, I think. But the thing is with Ancelotti, he is made for that top tier. He is a coach who wins titles, and now taking over a mid-table team seemed as a shock for many fans. But with the signings he's made, I think he might even turn Everton into a top tier team. You never know. Just the way Leicester were turned into a top six, top four team, and even won the Premier League, Everton can beat all odds and do it. I mean, I'm not saying it will happen, but in this season, but with Ancelotti pulling the strings, it's a big possibility, and they proved it by beating Jose Mourinho's Spurs. Jose has never lost a match day one game in his entire managerial career, which speaks a lot. And the fact that he was able to beat him and Spurs, it just shows that Ancelotti is here to win, and who knows, he just might do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this conversation makes our task for predicting the top six 100 times more harder
Oh,
because
jeez,
of the nature of the league. Yeah, it definitely makes it harder because we know that in order to stay in the same place, we got to run faster in this league. You got to run 10 times faster just to stay in the same spot, which is why we have our own uh, ideas of who are going to make it into the top 6, and I think it's about time we bust that open, and let's get started with the
Yes.
main content for this podcast, which is predicting the top 6 of the Premier League this season. Let's get started with that. Travis, do you want to go ahead, do me the honor of telling me your sixth position?
My sixth position is, I believe it's, considering the fact that I haven't seen the Manchester's play, I think I'm going to go with Leicester City FC. Uh,
Ooh,
yes, they
ooh. Okay,
have, they achieved,
okay.
I think they were fifth last season. They had kind of a crisis after the post coronavirus, post the break, and they ended up losing a lot of matches. And I believe Leicester have what it takes, but just they're missing the quality that they had a couple of seasons. Last seasons, they've sold Ben Chilwell. They don't have they've the players like Ricardo Pereira aren't fit. But even so, I think Vardy is going to be a huge asset for them, and he is single-handedly gonna pull Leicester to the top six position. That is my prediction. Leicester City, sixth place.
Before I announce my number 6 spot, I actually want to talk about Leicester City a bit. I think they do have the potential to be in the top 6 this season, but I feel like uh, after watching their first game in match week 1, was not too convinced with their performance. They required 2 penalties from Jamie Vardy to actually play a bit more uh, comfortable football and to get their bearings in that game against a side that was just recently promoted into the Premier League, I might add. I think they will struggle a bit this season, no doubt for sure. And given the fact that they've lost a lot of key players in key positions, I think that might uh, let them down and hinder their chances at top 6, which is why I'm going for Tottenham Hotspur in the 6th position. Tottenham Hotspur in the last 24 hours have made humongous progress with the transfer of Bale on a 1 year loan deal to to Spurs, and I think that's going to revolutionize the entire squad and give them a new energy about them. The next position, Travis, who do you have at number 5?
David, this number five was difficult, but I think I'm gonna settle on Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. I mean, come on, Mikel Arteta worked under Pep, come back to Arsenal, won 2 trophies in 3 matches, and he's got Aubameyang to sign a new deal. He's got this new signings, Gabriel, who just scored a banger in his debut. Villian from Chelsea, your team, I might add, who had almost a hat trick of assists, although one didn't count, but he got 2 assists on his debut. And I mean, with these signings, I think the reason Arsenal will come in the top five is because they work together as a team. They might not have world class players in each position, but they work as a team. They're fluid. They pass the ball side to side and they score. And we saw that in the match day one. The game was very fluid, and Mikel Arteta gunning is gunning, pun intended, for a top four at least. But they might just miss out and aim at top five and settle on top five, which is pretty good considering the fact that they didn't do all that well last year. But this year with Mikel Arteta, I do feel Arsenal will have the or have the fifth position.
Yeah, I agree. And for my 5th place, I do have Arsenal as well. And
Nice.
I agree with all your points mentioned. I think Arteta is causing a revolution at Arsenal at the moment. Last few games they've played, they've we saw that in Chelsea, the FA Cup finals against Chelsea. We saw it against the Community Shield, in the Community Shield against Liverpool, and we've been seeing that for a while over since the restart of football. I think Arteta has really drilled into his team a sense of confidence within their defensive shape, within their attacking transitions,
Mm-hmm.
and just within the entire structure of their formation, we've seen them change formations from a 4-2-3-1 to a 3-4-3. Uh, Not only that, we see the introduction of Willian and his influence so quickly on that team. I did not really expect that at all. I would have never imagined he would have broken through into that starting lineup right off the bat, just after joining the team 1 week prior to that match,
Mhm.
to match day one. I think we is testament to Arteta's managerial skills and all the skills he's inherited from his time at Manchester City under Pep Guardiola. So, given all those factors, I do think that Arsenal are capable of making it top four. But it's Arsenal.
Yeah.
It's Arsenal,
Just to
and
interrupt you,
we've
like,
seen them slip up.
the thing is, Arsenal have beaten Manchester City, Chelsea, and Liverpool 3 matches in a row. And that is just crazy. I just
Yeah,
realized that in
yeah,
the semis they beat City, in the finals they beat Chelsea, and then for the Community Shield they beat Liverpool. And it was Arsenal who won all those matches, and it was Mikel Arteta right there. That was his genius. Anyways, go on.
yeah,
Just had to put that.
100%. Yeah. So, yeah. Thanks for interrupting me, Travis.
Uh,
Okay. But at the end of the day, it is Arsenal we're talking about. Um, they are very prone to going back to their old ways with their sudden change in attitude. We've seen Xhaka lose his mind over simple things. We've seen David Luiz slip up and make the most horrendous mistakes ever. We've seen Mustafi turn into Messi randomly in midfield and then shoot the worst shot ever shot in football
Jeez.
history. But uh, all those out of the way, Arsenal do have the capabilities to make it into top four. But given these defensive frailties and their lack of consistency in performance, not based on what we've seen recently, but based on what we've been seeing over the last few years from Arsenal, um, I do think that they're going to land up in this fifth spot. Moving on to the next spot, number four, the top fours. Who do you have at the number fourth spot?
David, sorry to pull this on you, but I'm gonna make a slight change on my top four prediction, and I'm gonna go with Manchester United
Ooh.
as number four. Planning in this at all is because I don't know. Maybe it's because I have a soft spot for them, or maybe it's because I don't know. Whenever I used to think, at least when I was younger, whenever I used to think of English football, the first name that came to mind was Manchester United. And seeing as they've got Bruno Fernandes, who is just phenomenal. Please, Bruno Fernandes is just a phenomenal addition to the squad. And now they've got Donny van de Beek, which when you see his preseason game, which he played against Aston Villa, the kind of plays that he made and the kind of runs that he did and the passes was just exceptional. And him linking up with Bruno Fernandes can be really devastating for any team forward. I put them on fourth because I don't think they're gonna. They have the cavalry and the backup to back them, the squad depth basically to challenge for the top positions because defensively, they have had a lot of problems. De Gea, who was once one of the best keepers in the world, has dropped form. Although they have bought Dean Henderson back, I don't see Dean Henderson starting over David De Gea in the Premier League, at least in the first 10 matches, 10, 20 matches. If De Gea really messes up, then maybe Dean Henderson would start, but I don't see that happening. So that, plus they've got Maguire, the the, the outlaw, Harry Maguire, who's the captain of Manchester United for now, and I see him making a lot of errors, which might not help them as a team. So basically, they don't have the squad depth, and they haven't made the signings needed to challenge for the Premier League title. Not yet. Ole Gunnar is a fantastic coach, and with the attack that he has, with the midfielders that he has, with Pogba, Bruno, and Van de Beek, I think they can get to a top four position. Back to
I
you.
think we do have a lot of similarities with our prediction. Um, I've put Manchester United at number four as well. I agree with your points made, and I do think that uh, Bruno Fernandes obviously made a huge impact since his introduction after the restart, and the entire team has had this new bravado about them in terms of their attack, and we've seen one of the most potent attacking transitions and attacking plays in Manchester United's attacking transitions and goal scored. This is one problem I had with United even last season, and I think United fans will be able to back me up on this. Their defense is just not up to the mark. um Harry Maguire has been average, but he's been consistently average.
For his
So,
price tag, he is
that being said,
very average. Very.
yeah, that's what I mean. Um, I should have made that a bit clearer. But even Lindelof, let's be honest, he's made a few costly errors for them, and maybe it's not cost them as many points. I think it's cost them more in terms of their chances in the FA Cup, their chances in the Europa, and I think it's going to cost them next season as well. Moving on to the top three. This is the all-important top three. Travis, who do you have in third position? I think I can already guess this.
Yes, you can. It is the team with the best transfer window I have ever seen till date.
Yeah.
The one and only.
Yeah.
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Yeah.
They signed the sheer fact that they signed the quality of players on paper that should automatically make them the Premier League winners. I'm going to be very honest. With this squad, they can easily win the title. And no jokes, there's no team that can even come close if they actually get their with their formation going. So they've signed a prolific striker with Timo Werner. They signed an attacking midfielder with Havertz. They've signed a freaking winger Ziyech with a left foot which people dream of. He's got that kind of a left foot. They've signed Thiago Silva with the veteran with all the knowledge who can command the Chelsea defense. They've signed Chilwell, who's an attacking fullback who will just keep running and running and making those runs and crossing it in. I mean, come on. On paper, Chelsea have by far one of the strongest squads I've seen. Even as good as Manchester City or Liverpool. I'm going to be very honest. The only reason I put them number 3 is because as we saw their first game, Timo Werner, who is just an amazing striker, is going to take some time getting used to the Premier League football. He made a comment where the defenders in Germany were not as big and huge as they were. I think he was referring to Lewis Dunk when he said that, because he was huge. So he made that comment.
Yeah.
And it shows that although he is one of the best, he's going to take a while to get going. Same goes for Havertz. Ziyech is still injured, so it's going to be a while till Ziyech comes and gets his flow going. All in all, I think this season, by the time these players actually gel together and play as a team, as the fluid football, kind of like Arsenal, the way they play their football, if Chelsea can get that kind of fluidity in their game, there's nothing that could stop them. I just feel that by the time they get this fluidity, it's going to be towards the end of the season. And there are a couple of other teams, I'm not going to name them just as yet, who might just pull too far ahead for Chelsea to catch up. So that's the only reason why I'm going to give Chelsea the number 3 spot. But I'm betting you next season, I'm putting my money on Chelsea for the winning title easily. But back to you, David. Who do you think is your number 3?
Like I said before,
we have
very similar.
we have very
great
similar.
minds think
I
alike.
think all of us have the same. I think even the top 2 are the same for us, but okay. Anyways,
obviously, as a Chelsea fan,
as a
this was
Chelsea
tough
fan,
decision to make
this was a
because
tough decision to make
I'm
because
obviously full of optimism.
given the kind of transfer window we had. So we cannot be under the guys that our team that won us the top 4 position last year is good enough to bring us top 4 this year. We have to understand that the motivation and the determination that we showed last year needs to be built upon, and we need to work 10 times harder to stay in that same spot. uh I think we've kind of compensated with the new transfers, but that's going to take some time. Like you mentioned, I see a fluid squad approaching the middle of this season. um Thiago Silva, I think he's already fit. He's already started training with the squad. We've had a couple of injuries to Ziyech. Pulisic is also under treatment alongside Ben Chilwell. So it's going to be a tough run for Chelsea and Frank Lampard's boys. We're gonna we're gonna see some beautiful football, however, because we know Timo Werner is a man of quality. We know the quality of Havertz and what he brings to each side, with his versatility and his flexibility to play in different attacking positions. That's going to bring in more competition within the squad already, and I'm sure the team is excited and everybody in the club is buzzing about starting the season on a good note. We won our first game and it was a hard fought game, but I think we're gonna be competing and kind of close that gap between the top two teams that we're gonna mention soon. Um, Speaking of the top two teams, let's move on to the second position. Travis, who
I
do you
think
have in
David,
second
I think
place?
David, you can take the lead with this one because I think I've been taking the lead and then you've just been agreeing with me. So you go ahead, take the lead on the second position. Go for it, man.
Sure thing. Okay, so in second position, I have Liverpool. The current champions are gonna fall. I see them like the same thing I said with Chelsea. I think you need to run 10 times faster to stay in that same spot. And I think Liverpool haven't done that with that their transfer window and the opportunity they had to rebuild, not rebuild, but to advance and to make progress within the same squad, because it's not perfect. The squad isn't perfect. We know that they have a few older players in Jordan Henderson and the likes of James Milner, and obviously they had a chance to bring in some top quality players, and they have brought in Thiago, who is going to bring a new dimension to their attack and their midfield. But I I feel that this side has put in their heart and soul into into the Premier League over the past 3 or 4 seasons, since Jurgen Klopp has come in and developed these players from scratch. I think that this season could be a real test for them, because of the fact that every other team in the league is strengthened, and we saw that clearly embodied in that game against Leeds United. We saw a championship winner coming to coming to par with Pool and giving them one of the toughest games they've played in a while. Um, this is why I think I've put Liverpool in the second spot. Travis, what about you?
Liverpool can just as easily win the Premier League. I'm not saying that they can't, but I think it's going to be pretty close, like the season when Manchester City won before Liverpool, the 98, 97 league that they had, which was just phenomenal. I think we might have another competition like that on our hands, and I do believe Liverpool might just miss out, but it just complicates things with the introduction of Thiago. I think that just complicates things for us as predictors of the Premier League table, because the only Thiago gives the strength to Liverpool where they lacked. The midfield of Liverpool, like, they've got a phenomenal defense. The fullbacks are world class. The keeper is world class. The attackers are world class. The only place where they did not have a world class players, was the midfield. They had Henderson, great captain, great player, but you wouldn't really consider him as world class. But then you have Thiago, who's just coming, and he's just come off winning a treble with Bayern, and he is what you call a world class midfielder, and that's what Liverpool have got in them. And there are some rumors where they're planning to sign Ousmane Dembele from Barcelona on a 1 year loan deal, which, because Jurgen Klopp wants to enforce his attack and have backups as on his attack as well, so they plan to sign Ousmane Dembele. So with these inclusions in the Liverpool squad, it could really boost them to fight for the title. They might just miss out, but I see it being very close. We could be wrong. They could edge out the number one team which we have on both our lists, but I guess time will tell.
Let's announce our champion spot at the same time. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Manchester
Manchester City.
City.
Yep. I think this was an obvious choice, given the fact that uh, they've shown so much hunger over the last few seasons to to even make it to champions, to come so close to the Champions League finals, and to even win the Premier League last season. I think they had an incredible season, but difficulties and injuries here and there cost them cost them a lot, and even inconsistencies within the team cost them a lot. Travis, what do you think about this season? What's going to change about Manchester City this season?
I think the reason Manchester City lost out last year, I mean, they lost like really shocking games. Like they lost to Norwich. Norwich was the last team, and they lost to almost everyone, and they ended up beating Manchester City. So the fact is, Manchester City really lacked in defense last year. They had Laporte who was injured. They haven't been able to find a replacement for Company, who was a great captain, who captained them to their final Premier League. And even their fullbacks with Mondi on one side and Cancelo, Walker on the other side. Walker, world class. Cancelo has not really been fitting in the team as yet. Ederson comes off his line and leaves the goal open for, that's how Southampton scored their goal. So keeping all this in mind, they've signed Nathaniel Ake from Bournemouth. They're planning to sign Koulibaly, or there's some of the other rumor of Manchester City signing some defender. But I think with Laporte and with the shifting defense, the shifting centre back with Stones, Otamendi, and Ake, I think City have really cleaned up their defense, hopefully. And their attack is just you cannot comment on their attack. They've got the best attack in the world. Now, with the inclusion of Fernan Torres from Valencia, who was a star at Valencia, they've got him here to replace Leroy Sané. That's another potentially world-class attacker at their disposal. And Pep just loves developing young players, right? That's his forte. Pep is known for that, and he's gonna make those players get the best out of them. And if Aguero remains uninjured, with Sterling, Mahrez, and Torres, with Jesus, De Bruyne, I'm taking these names and I'm like, I can't believe they're in the same team. So I think with this kind of squad, and this is what Chelsea can get to, this is what I mean. Every name you take is got that world class feeling, and plus they've got that chemistry within them. They know how to play with each other. They know, how the other person plays, where they stand when they make runs. They know that about each other, and that is what will give them the consistency, which is the most important thing. You can have one great game, you can have two great games, but then to have 38 great games is something that only Arsenal have done till date. But that's going off point. But to have 38 games where you can keep that level high, I think City have the squad depth and the manager and the backing to do it. So Manchester City, number one for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think Pep has made signings in very key areas that they really need to clean up the act with the introduction of Nathan Ake in the defense, with the introduction of Ferran Torres, and the fact that they had a bit more prolonged preseason to train and to get their act together in terms of chemistry and integrating all the new players into the squad. I think that they're setting themselves up for success. uh, I think consistency was an issue last year, like you mentioned, but I think they know what their problem areas are, and Pep is Pep, man. He's gonna sort it out. I think he has the potential with this squad to make run leaps and bounds with this squad. which is why we both have chosen Manchester City to be the champions of the Premier League this season. This is going to be a really exciting season. I think this is going to be the one of the best seasons in a long time. Even though, I mean, nothing taken away from the seasons that have passed us. This season, along with the whole Corona situation, the transfer window, we've been seeing the kind of players that are coming into the Premier League, some of the top world class, world renowned players who are playing both in their national teams and at an international level and have made a mark in their own respective leagues and are now coming in to prove their money's worth in one of the best leagues in the world, if not the best league in the world, the Premier League. And it's going to be an exciting season, guys. I hope that uh, you're going to be tuning in to watch each game and to support your own teams. And obviously, I think United are very close with that Sancho deal. Bale is coming to the Premier. He's making his return to his previous club
Spicy,
in
man.
Tottenham,
It's just
and
got real. Shit just got real in the Premier League this
yeah,
season.
James Rodriguez is in the Premier League. Who would have thought James Rodriguez? Oh man,
Taking nothing
it's going to
away
be a
from
really
Liverpool last season, the fact that Liverpool was so dominant last season, it kind of, you know, diffuse the Premier League, to be boring, because Liverpool was so far ahead. They proved themselves to be so superior that none of them could stand a chance. Taking nothing away from Liverpool, they were a fantastic team. They've showed world class qualities, but this season it just got real. It just got real exciting, and this is what the Premier League is about. Winning the Premier League on the final match day. All teams, high competition. This is what the Premier League is about. This is what we love about the Premier League. So I hope to see all of this in the coming season. David, back to you. Sign us off, please.
yeah. We'll have to just wait and see how this all unfolds. Let's just hope our predictions are accurate as ever. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for tuning in into another episode of The Goalpost. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to drop a like down below. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the post notification so that you don't miss another video. And we'll see you in the next one.